Hi everybody, welcome back. Anybody there? Hello? Oh, you are there. Good. Okay, let me put you on the speakerphone then. Andrew is with us from somewhere in the boonies. You with us?
I am.
Good. Sort of interesting for me because I have no idea what this class is about. I knew 2 weeks ago what it was going to be about, and then 3 days ago I knew it wasn't going to be about that, and 2 days ago I knew what it was going to be about, and then I realized it wasn't going to be about that. So either God's confused, or I'm not listening very well, or we're winging it. So let's see what happens. We were going to, I had thought that we would just pick up from the book, reading chapter 8, which is the list of 25 or 30 principles. But what I've been hearing talking to people is that the things we're talking about are the same problems that we were talking about 3 months ago, or in most cases 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or whatever. There's a lot of truths, finger pointings in that book, and a lot of us attended here and listened to the audios and asked questions and discussed and probably understood a lot that was what was said, but of course it's all finger pointing, and the question is how much of it got down here. So rather than reading some more finger pointing and rediscussing more finger pointing, and it's very easy to read this stuff and say, oh yeah, I know that now because we know the right words and stuff, but it's very easy to do that sort of thing. But what I'd like to do is turn this into more of a workshop. And first of all, the people who did the work, who did the last class, and maybe even the preceding one, I'd like those of you who feel led to share what's changed in your life. Has your understanding changed? Has your experience changed? Has your behavior changed? And has what you think about changed? Has how you react, or how often you react, or whether you react or respond changed? I'm really interested in knowing, finding out whether and how deep this work has gotten so far and where we need to go next. So I would be really, anybody that wants to share on any of them, you don't need to share on all of them, that's not a bullet list, you can share on any of them, but what's changed for those of you, we spent 3 months in here and 11 weeks, and a lot of talking and reading and sharing. What's changed? Yeah.
And my name's Christy.
Christy.
Some of you know that the last year I spent pursuing my religious science practitioner's license, and it was a pretty rigorous 30-week course. And the reason why I share that is because my intention was to improve my conscious contact with God by taking the class. And I learned a lot and I'm grateful, really, really grateful for the experience. But at the same time, it just didn't feel right. You know, it just wasn't, I guess, it. You know, there was just, but, and during that time, you know, I've always, I mean, I was first led to Joel, and I've always read Joel, and I felt really good when we used some of Joel's textbooks, and I felt really good when I read Joel, but then, you know, when I read The Science of Mind, there were a lot of things that it just didn't get me here, you know. Got me up here, made me think, you know, critically, but not here. And then when we started doing this workshop, I made the decision not to finish the next year. You know, it just, this felt right, and this shook me to the core. This, you know, this pointing to the moon. I mean, a lot of it, I got up here, but it really shook me like, wow, you know, it got me. And so it's kind of, it's deepened my pursuit, but it's not out there anymore. It has just brought it so much inwardly. I find myself, you know, not doing the do-gooder stuff, and I don't know, it's real. I mean, it shook me at a core, but at the same time, it gave me a feeling of like, yeah, this is it, you know, and it felt right. Although a lot of it, you know, I'm still like, whoa, you know, I mean, I could reread that over and over and still not even grasp, you know, what's in that. Yeah, I'm really grateful for this work. For me, it just feels really right, you know. And what it's done too is I feel like a big weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. I feel lighter. I feel freer. I feel, so what that does is that touches every aspect of my day. You know, I just kind of feel like, la-da-da-da, you know, it's not so burdensome. So, you know, that's been my experience with it.
Thank you. Well,
feel much more accepting of what is rather than what should be. Spend much less time in my head on what people ought to be doing or the way things are. Really, it's just, you know, it is what it is.
rather than what should be. Good. Yeah, that wasn't a chapter, was it?
Yeah.
Another chapter in down, what should be, was it?
It's really, it's freeing too. It's just, you know, freeing from worrying. This is what it is. It's the way it ought to be. Another way.
Who else?
Well, I had almost more like the kind of saw more clearly how much of a burden I carry around all the time. Is what happened with me. It made me, it really made me notice, you know, how I'm not sure how to put it, but just how much I go around kind of operating in human mind and you know, not feeling very much pain from it, I think. So just, you know, kind of going on ahead, and it just made it intolerable, and it really made me enrolled in the script class. It made me want to take that. It made me keep thinking, you know, okay, how, you know, it made me start wondering how to keep that with me every minute instead of, you know, slowly, gradually, more and more minutes.
Keep up with you. The awareness of the burden you're carrying?
No. No. Well, yeah, I mean, just, unnecessarily self-inflicted burdens. I don't mean any real burdens.
All burdens are unnecessarily self-inflicted burdens. There are no other kind. Were you able to put any of them down?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the question. Were you able to drop anything?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah, but it just really sharpened this thing for me that I wanted to, like that feeling, like stop and sort of like do a 10-step, it made me want to find a way to sort of do that always, to just sort of do that always.
Toward the end of August, I had a problem come up, and I was starting to go into fear about it, and I wasn't dragged into it. I was able to, for some reason, something had changed, something had shifted where I felt like if I just know oneness through this day, that all there is, the oneness that you taught us in the class was a oneness that I'd never heard about before. That's I don't know how to describe it, but that all there is God, and it was a oneness above all humanity, and there is nothing that can happen that isn't, this isn't happening anyway. I can't even use the words, but I had a feel for it as I went through that day. And I was able to just watch and see what happened next, and after that, and not get in and say anything or do anything, and just watch. And I saw harmony unfold in my house and my neighborhood. And then over the weekend, I had another challenge or a problem come up, and it was scary, and I was crying for a little while. But then I realized that I could apply, I didn't really think about this work. I just I just sort of calmed down and knew as I was going about my day that almost laughingly, that, what, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. What am I even, in angst about? And kind of a lightness and a jolliness, knowing. I just knew. So I think I've changed in that I'm able to shift quicker when hard things come.
You touched on the healing principle in the work, but I think what I became aware of is that is all the healing principle, because if I accept, kind of like Tree was saying, if I accept that, all is well, or, one power, no power kind of thing, then it's all the healing power, because there is no disharmony, right? And I think what I've been aware of is kind of how that plays into the healing principle, not only with me personally, but in my household, and a lot of the healings that have taken place in our home as a result of kind of the shift in consciousness. And it's been real specific, and just kind of watching it happen has been pretty wild, as it unfolds. And so, yeah.
My biggest shift was, again, shifting from mental science, where you're trying to have a power over a power, to just realizing that it's all good.
That's an important shift. That was nuts.
I would use, the mental science to try to make it look the way I wanted to look, because I still have this concept that it's, it is what we think. And I can see why now that Joel broke away from, Mary Baker Eddy because of that. Because, it was this mental science.
And it's true, and it works.
It works, but it's still, there's never an end.
And it's just human.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
So I found, it freed me up from trying to constantly, trying to manifest my good based on my concept of what good should look like.
Yeah.
Because I have no clue what it should look like. And that's a big shift, because once you go beyond that, then because mental science still keeps you in that duality. And by shifting through that, then it's, then what is good, what is bad? They lose their importance. It's like, I remember that story, the guy that, had a farm and his, whatever, his son couldn't go to war, and then he broke his leg or whatever. I can't remember the story, but
The man with the horse story.
The man with the horse story.
Yeah.
There's always a man with the horse story. But anyway, so because it's really my concept. I have no idea what's good for me. And so when I let that go, things. Who knows? It's like I was telling someone the other day, their houses got flooded, but that might be a freedom to some people. Some people now are living up in, so you look at everything as good and bad, and you get stuck in that concept. So we just don't know.
And the flood's still part of the dream.
Yeah. Because it's all about waking up. So, and I have this also concept that when things are going good, then, there's maybe some time for some turmoil to stir me up so that it shapes me, because when things are going good, there's no reason to look beyond the dream. I don't know.
Well, that certainly is the case. That Mary Baker Eddy said that we all will learn through science or suffering.
Yeah.
Is one of her quotes. And Joel's comment about that was, I don't see many learning by science. And I love telling them at the morning meeting that the steps will work whether you work them out of greed or pain. The steps will work no matter why you work them. Okay, good, thanks. Who else?
Hi, Jen. For me, the biggest change, especially recently, has been in my meditation. And, I haven't been doing this work for too long, but I've had this thirst and this, incredible, insatiable place of knowing that I'm in the right place.
That's the greatest piece of grace in the world, is having that thirst.
It's amazing.
I got bit with that thirst in July of 1976, and it is unabated. It is the biggest gift I ever got,
It's amazing. And in my meditation, and I realizing kind of what Tree was saying too, that I've been experiencing that oneness with, and sometimes and I heard you say it once in a meeting a long time ago, that it hit me, that it feels like gold, and you're there, and then you've got it, and it's a split second, and it overpowers me, and then I'm looking for this, and so I'm understanding what these things are about because I'm having that experience, and it's changing in my household, and the healing that's going on, and it's, so all these things aren't words to me anymore, it's an experience. And it's the most amazing thing that's ever happened. And that there's, it's like, when I was drinking and using it, it would always run out. Always have to go get more. No matter what I did, it would be gone. And it could be food, it could be anything, It could be somebody else's attention, But this is the one thing. It's infinite.
See, Jesus lied. Jesus told the person, the lady, remember the story about Jesus at the well, and the lady comes up to the well, and Jesus doesn't have a bucket or something, but in any event, she talks about giving him water, and he says, I will give you water such that when you drink of it, you will never thirst again. And my experience is exactly the opposite, My thirst is unquenchable, I suspect that when there's no lead, that will be the solution to that. When there's completely no lead, that will be the solution to the problem. I think he was trying to rope her in. Go ahead.
Well, just for me, in touching, just in the space that I touched, I get that there's nothing to heal. That part of it too. All the healing part, that it's all there. I'll just keep showing that.
Nothing to heal, nothing to overcome. Who else? Please.
Well, my biggest problem was staying the consciousness for all these years. And I'm like, I don't even know how to stay in something that I am. So it was confusing until I didn't have anyone to talk about this with. And the people I was talking about it would just go, well, that's stupid. And I was like, oh, well, obviously that's not the consciousness. So now that I know what the consciousness is not, I was like, okay, maybe I need to stick with people that are in the consciousness. So that makes sense. And for all these years, I never did it. And everything's perfect more often. And as a description of that is 5:30 in the morning, and I dropped my key in my garage, pitch dark, and I'm like, and right as I dropped the key, I'm like, and it fell in a little nook in the garage that separates the two garage doors. It fell right in that nook, and I'm like, now I'm going to have to get my fingernails dirty trying to find it. I don't know anything about my hands. I'm like, Howard Hughes. But anyhow, right when the key dropped, the car turns a corner, and lights it up. I'm like, perfect. Boom, pick the key up. And it's just perfect. Every day something happens, I'm like, you know what? Oh, perfect. And it's like that. It happened yesterday, and I can't remember what it was. But there's like, when I had a backache, I went to the bank, and I go, this is a while ago, but it's just another point of perfect is, they go, how's everything going? I go, my back hurts a little bit. And the lady goes, oh, you want some heating pads? I bought them at the store this morning. I can't remember why I bought them, but I don't need them. Oh, perfect. And it's just perfect. It's not like everything is going.
See, that's what grace looks like.
Yeah. It's not everything is going.
It's like somebody with a heating pad that they don't know what it's for.
Right.
I mean, really. Or some fool coming in the corner.
Right. So it's just, this perfection is just unfolding at all times. And so then I get a job at, where there's a real high level of consciousness at Five Electronics. And I'm sitting in the break room reading.
A high level of vibration is not measured in megahertz.
Right. Well, you should sit in a break room sometime. And I'm reading The Infinite Way. And it's like, so all the commotion going around me is really, what that is. And I'm sitting there just, everything's perfect. This is amazing. This is exactly how it should be right now. Is be getting connected.
That's what being in your center means.
So that's what I got from pointing it.
Good. Anybody else? Yeah.
What I am getting from this order, it is incredible. trying to get some adult it's concepts. You know, I heard you talk about concepts and how it's given me the ability to see things for how they are, not how I think they are. And the joy is in how they see them and how they are. And that's what this work has given me the ability to do. You know, it's given me the ability to, I used to say, I know in my head I want to feel it in my heart. And what it has given me the ability to do is feel it in my heart and go with my gut and not listening to my head anymore. And to just trust that all will be well. Like, the joy is in doing this work. And I believe that was the core of my being. And it's been great. And, you know, when I cry, I'm grateful. Those are tears of gratitude because I have that ability to get that. And, you know, before I came here, somebody gave me some information that I could use the concept and be sad about it, but the gift is that the person trusted me enough to tell me. And that's how I want to, that's the person I want to be. And, you know, I came here bringing tissues because I was told that it's a good place to cry, and I've been crying a lot. So I brought the tissues for myself, and Adele cried when they heard the tissues. So what I learned, that's what I'm experiencing in life, is what I think something is for is not necessarily what it's for. And I'm also being able to hear when someone says, it will be good, I can say to myself, very quickly now, it is good. And so I'm being given this, I'm just, I love. No, it's not even that I just love learning, I love. And years ago I read Scott's Head, and I said that was my first book to go on the journey of wanting grace. And he talks in there about grace being, when you go to change lanes in the car, and all of a sudden you notice the car next to you. Had you not seen that, you could be dead. And that's God's grace in your life that day. You know, my life is made up of God's grace. This awareness that I'm getting from this, really.
Speak up if you want to, Andrew. We can't see your hand go up.
Sorry, I had to unmute there. I truly feel that I have a sense of serenity, that I have a different definition of serenity from working through some of this stuff with you. It's a stillness, it's the absence of, it's just different. It's being closer to God in a different way. So all of that comes from this work, definitely.
Good, thanks.
I know so much has happened, I don't even know where to start, but one of my huge things, because I used to do mental science for a long time, and I actually got frustrated. I picked the book up again last week, Mental Minds, and it didn't feel right to me. It didn't, you know, what Christy said, I just didn't, something wasn't right. I was trying intellectually to grasp things again, and, you know, I was trying to fix things mentally, and I just had the realization that, what am I fighting against? What is it that I'm fighting? Why do I keep resisting? And, you know, just kind of what everyone's been talking about, that there's nothing to overcome, and hypnotism has just been, I constantly recognize hypnotism just everywhere. And I too have seen just amazing healings in my family that I never thought were possible, and it's just, you know, it's the consciousness. It's, you know, I know it's nothing I'm ever capable of. It's just my insatiable thirst and, you know, the gift of grace that I got 2.5 years ago. It's non-stop. Sometimes I get a little crazy now that I can't stop doing it, but it's nice to take a step back and kind of breathe. But yeah, just sitting in this class and I can just feel it in my bones when they talk about it, and it's just awesome. So thanks.
So, has anybody's meditation practice changed? Has anybody tried the awareness exercise? Has anybody tried the self-inquiry? Are those working for you? Please.
I do the awareness almost every morning.
Yeah, is that working?
Yeah. In fact, I can move within about 5 minutes and my head's starting to go to that place. Very short amount of time, well, not 5 minutes, a couple of minutes. Very easy to go from my knee to my ear, back to my knee, and then into the eye, and drop down. And I find I used to think a lot about the script class and the work that I've been learning in here on my way to work, because I'm not one of those raging drivers. I kind of enjoy myself driving to work. It's time I can ponder and just let the car go where it knows where to go. But to get there a few minutes early and just to sit and to meditate and start with the awareness exercise almost every morning.
I heard Barbara do a brief awareness exercise in one of her classes the other day, and after she got to the point where she said, become aware of I, she said, now become aware of your life. I can feel that right now, so play with that one. Instead of just doing it, be aware of I, and then be aware of the silence behind that. Be aware of your life, which of course is the life. So, and I did that one, and I have a very different experience. I think that I and consciousness and the presence are all the same, right? But my experience when I do a be aware of them are all three different, and life is a totally different experience than any of those, and much more whelming. So play with that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the night that Christy read that for us, that was such a incredible experience, and I love Christy's voice. And
I couldn't have staged that. It was so perfect the way that paragraph and Christy came together there.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I'm in my meditation, instead of going through the steps, I'll think of Christy's voice and the feeling that we got to at the end of the exercise. And the cool part is I can drop right into it, so not having to necessarily go through the steps, but I can kind of recollect and just go straight to that place, which has been really fun.
It's a muscle builder. Mm-hmm. You can build your muscle and go there directly to the point.
Mm-hmm. And I've been practicing protective work, which I never kind of really paid a lot of attention to before, so that's been fun. And then the one morning I did it, and I got that allergic reaction. I was like, maybe I think I did it wrong this morning. So I called Lee, and 5 minutes later it was lifted, which was great. It was like a little, oops. The non-protective.
Please, see if anybody can do this. I can't even describe what that is.
I started this when we started 2 years ago. And I never particularly liked meditating
I particularly like coming to the classes, although I'm kind of hitting on them. But I just kept doing it because I did. And I have suffered so much. I didn't think I was going to live this year. And something just happened. I just let God all of it. And grace is something that happens to someone. It happened to me. There was nothing I did to earn it. And I didn't want to win out a little bit less 1 minute and a little bit more. I just feel like I was in the darkness for so long. It's just beautiful. This changed my life. I was in the hospital. It just happened. I know that my spiritual condition is not dependent on how I feel. I just never know what's happening. And I wasn't here, but I listened to all of these classes again and again. I just had a state of wonder since this happened, trying to figure out what happened to me. This stuff is so powerful. I just get it.
Everybody that looks at you knows you do. It's such a dramatic change. You see how everyday work isn't doing anything, like having no change. Everyday work, every little bit of work adds up and adds up and adds up and adds up and adds up, and you can't see it. Barbara talks about a hammer against a rock. And nothing is happening, and nothing is happening, and all of a sudden, one blow, which is no different from any other, and the rock splits, okay? So that's what happens. Ramesh used to talk about walking up a staircase in complete dark, and all of a sudden, you stumble because into this light-filled room, and until then, you didn't realize. You couldn't possibly know that this was the last step until after you took it. So, walking up steps in the dark. So, yeah, you've been in a long, dark tunnel. It's been getting darker and smaller.
I mean, I know things like, I understand it's 100% my responsibility. And I could not get that because of things that had happened so young. And it's completely clear to me that nobody can come into the world with this kind of pain body and it be anything else than that. There's just no way. And now, I'm still struggling. Today, I spent most of the day over the toilet, and I knew
that this was the place I needed to be. And every time I start becoming physically ill, because I'm still, like you said, the fan is shut off, but it's still going a little bit. And I go right into the forgiveness exercises immediately. I know it's old pain body stuff, it's old script stuff, and there's a forgiveness that still hasn't happened for me. And I get all of it, infinite and personal, all of it. I have nothing that I don't want to forgive anymore. And that's exactly where I go. And I just start praying for the forgiveness and the understanding. And I know that this is what this pain is. I mean, I've had some crazy shit happen, man. And it just wouldn't stop. And it's just so clear to me that this is script. And it's hypnotism. And to be able to go directly into that instead of trying to find an answer someplace else is huge. It's just all so huge. It's just like one day I was looking here and the next day I was looking there, and there was nothing that happened that I did, and that is grace. And I never understood grace before. And I am so grateful, Lee.
So am I.
And I'm really grateful to all of you guys. I know you were praying for me, and I felt all of it, and all of it made a difference.
You could see the transformation when you walked in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Right, with tears in my eyes. You could see it in their face. Amazing.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
full-on light, amazing light from nothing.
Yeah.
Real power. And I bet people are no longer asking you, are you okay? Which used to be a hell of a script read. She looked so bad, and everybody kept saying, I tell you, you look terrible, and of course your kids didn't want to hear that. And I bet that's all stopped, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. God, look at you. Yeah. Cool. Amazing.
I have to say, I've been listening to your tapes since you did the Monday night tapes quite a while ago, and just moved all the time. I listen to them all the time when I'm in the car. Instead of music, I listen to these tapes, and I've really a lot has been mentioned about the hypnotism, and that's one of the things that, in the tapes you said, take these, and I was so grateful when you said it takes people years to get this stuff, because, I understand that. And the hypnotism, in that it runs on suggestion. The nature of this world is hypnotism in mind, and that hypnotism, suggestion is what triggers hypnotism, and have worked with that one a lot. It has helped me go into really, I feel, very deep cellular fears. Something happened to me when I started working with that one. It went way back to, I thought, what's happening? When I first got sober, I used to sleep with a hammer under my pillow because I was afraid. Those thoughts started coming back to me when I started working with this, the nature of this world is hypnotism in mind, and a lot of those really deep fear as a woman, that when I say that, I know all the women go, I know what you mean, come. And they came very much up to the surface, that emptying out, which I thought, oh, the first tape, that's the simple one, emptying out. And I've come to find that that's the hardest, is that the very first step that you talked about in the very first tape was emptying out. And I found that one of really getting the acceptance that the nature of this world is hypnotism, and then really examining when I was in hypnotism, what was a suggestion that I accepted, has helped me tremendously not go into those fears. You know, and I know I talked to you numerous times about things on TV, and you'd say, you know, that's happening in Atlanta, it's not happening here. And how I was buying the hypnotism and just going really into the fear and getting paralyzed. And it has helped me tremendously to detach from it.
Switch over to the book, though. That's much better than those tapes. That was the first try. This is then the class was the second try. This is the third try. Every time it's getting more potent, I think. We're getting into this shit. We're starting to understand it.
Oh, good.
Marianne talked about the protective work, and I tried that too, and I started doing that. And it's separate from the meditation, sitting and feeling quiet about that. And I really noticed a difference with that, like through the day with the hypnotism, because I'll call it, you know, it allows me that space to call it for what it is. And call it a lie, call it, you know, more so than before. And it's just been a short period of time, you know, since a couple weeks ago I started that. But, you know, it could be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It would either be my head or somebody else, and I go, oh, okay. Yeah, that's a lot.
Another thing that's changed for me is my understanding of supply. Because, you know, I give away certain things, and I gave away one a month for 2 years. Then last month, doing 20 at the moon, I gave away 4 of them in 1 month, and then 2 already this month. And it's just like flowing. And through all that, all these other issues that I have aren't even an issue financially, because the supply is, you know, basically peanut butter, because I like to eat peanut butter. But it's there, you know. It's like my big concern was how am I going to pay this $10,000 thing, right? And then now that doesn't even exist because of how the whole flow of I was reading or listening or something that said that the depression didn't even occur because there's plenty of food throughout the world, which was the supply. But people were hypnotized by the fact that they didn't have any when there's a peach tree in their backyard. So that illusion has changed. I'm not saying it's not there, it's just a different illusion.
I'd like to land in saying that for me, understanding is the moving process.
And it's a necessary step.
Right. One of the things that I've been liberated from is any mental construct about my meditation goal. I mean, I don't even think about it. I used to, you know, want to make sure that I was being spiritual enough and all that stuff. Doesn't even matter anymore. Or whatever. I mean, I don't even think about it. I just show up. The practical applications have been really fun. I was more present. I've been more present the past month than I ever have been in my life. I was able to have some time with my daughter where we didn't get into script once. We were together for longer than we've been together in years. What's that? You know, except what we were doing here. And then the other thing that was really fun is because when I try and talk about this with people, you know, you get to a certain point. That's why the whole concept of spiritual secrecy is so wonderful. Because, you know, you just want to get the Kool-Aid out. You know? and I was in the Netherlands, where they are a very secular society, and I was given a bunch of AA thoughts. And because of the work here, I said, you know, when I start out, and a couple different times during the talk, I say, you know, when I say God, I want to make sure that you understand that I'm not saying what you're saying.
I'm not saying God.
I'm not saying God.
Don't say it as God.
Yeah. And I started doing the what is stuff. You know, I mean, I'm talking about what is. I'll call it God because it's shorter, but it was just fun to riff off, and the response to it was really fun.
The vocabulary is so important. That's one thing about this that seems to be working, because somebody was saying about, you know, about Joel, and yeah, there's nothing in that book that isn't in Joel's books. You know, there's nothing. You know, Joel's truth is complete. You know, there's nothing in here that isn't in Joel's book, but we don't hear it because the language is 60 years old and 70 years old and not Southern California and stuff like, you know. The language is so different. Cool.
You know, to read this, on Barbara's tapes, she would talk about, you know, the methods, the script work, the kid work, and the good and evil work. You know, it's like I never really understood, like, okay, well, I remember Lee saying to me, and you know, the steps, and you need to get rid of your concept of good and evil. And this is the piece. This is the work that, at least, you know, what I perceive, this is the good and evil work that she was talking about, you know, which is, yeah.
That's what we're going here.
Yeah.
For those of you who are still having emotion, look at the script work and the kid work, because that's just as important as this. It really is a three-legged stool that all of them need to be done if you want to get completely free. You need to do this work, and you need to do the good and evil work, but you also need, Barbara students did the good and evil work for 25 years between tantrums.
You know what a huge piece has been for me? A huge piece, because good and evil still has a personal connotation for me, is that the principle of learning that it is impersonal has been huge for me. Nobody's doing it to me. Or even, although script elicits a certain response, it's not to me, which is huge, because until I got that at a real cellular level, got it really deep.
That's the point.
I kept, how can one have a resentment against something that's impersonal? And that's been a huge piece for me.
Everything is impersonal. Everything is impersonal. There are no persons. Robert's third principle is everything is egoless. Nothing is a cause. Everything is egoless. There are no egos out there. There are no selves out there. Everything is impersonal. We are impersonal. The idea of personality is an illusion. The illusion, the great lie. Yeah, please.
Well, a couple of things regarding meditation practice. I definitely heard the concept of projective work, but I really started incorporating that also, you know, really heard what that was about and using that, you know, at some point during, you know, the morning in my meditation or prior to that. And I think just trying, you know, getting to a place where I'm not judging my meditation, it's just occurred to me recently, because for a while there, you know, last year I had the opportunity, last year in the beginning of this year, I had a lot of opportunity to do a lot of retreats, a lot of silence, with I think some pretty, you know, some pretty high people, some infinite way teachers and Dulce and being here and lots of stuff, and I was having like, pretty strong, like daily, the click, like really strong things were coming through. And of course, without this, and then, the towards the summer and lots of stuff going on, I didn't have the opportunity to do as many of those. For me, that really made a difference. It's getting away from the daily, routine, doing retreats, sitting in silence for more than an hour, for hours and days at a time. I really saw a difference, in my meditation. I was having all these, the click and just these really strong, experiences. And so when that, of course, when I stopped doing that as much, some of those kind of have changed for me, but trying not to judge that. Maybe it's not going to look like, for me, the glitch has shown up in different ways at different times. That click that I get, like Joel talked about God's on the field, and that we talk about in here, and trying and just realizing maybe it's not going to always look the same. That experience isn't going to always feel the same, and trying not to judge that. Because for a while, it was, what's wrong? It's not happening, that's not happening anymore, and so just trying to accept that, and also knowing that if that works for me, that I have to absolutely, it's like that thirst that you're talking about. Like I just feel like I have, it's like I'm, that expression, willing to go to any length. Like I'm just like, where's the next opportunity that I can do that? And for whatever reason, there's a couple of things. I know Dulcie just did a retreat this weekend, and I actually going to New York tomorrow, and I tried to make it work where I could go to that because. For me, that's just what's helped me, to do those types of things and to find the silence. And so if I can't do that, then just trying to find more time to be here in meditation or whatever. But I know that for me, it just seems like the silence is really the key, of where I need to be right now.
The next one's coming up between Christmas and New Year's. The purple flyer is on the table. Another 4-day retreat at Sarah with Dulcie.
New Year's?
Between Christmas and New Year's. Yeah, it starts probably the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, and 1st. It'll start on Monday the 28th and end on start on noon the 28th.
October?
And January, December.
Or some
New Year's. And I'm certainly going to go. I went to the one in June, and that was when all the kid work turned over. As a result of going up there and getting class for 4 days, so it certainly does work. Well, thank you all for sharing that. I'm still not sure just exactly what this class is going to look like, but I want it to be a workshop. And I'd like to go back and think about the first chapter, at least. The obstacles that we're still carrying or seem to be carrying. And the crux of the obstacles is, of course, attachment to things. And in Patanjali's 5 causes of suffering, ego, attraction, aversion, fear of death, something else.
And that's all in the rewrite?
Yes, that's in the rewrite. But Barbara had 4 lists that she put together. The list of the things you love, the things you hate, the things you fear, and the things you desire, okay? And the truth about it is that before you can see reality and stay in it, those lists have to be empty. So let's start a little side work here while we do whatever we do. Let's, you need to write down, for next break class, spend the week and work on, make a list of all the things you loved, okay? And bring the list to the next class.
Want all 4 lists or just a list?
Just love. One at a time is plenty. Make a list of all the things you love.
But we already know the answer that it should be empty.
Yeah? But that didn't empty it. That didn't empty it. Make a list of all the things you love. And we're talking about human love, but don't get locked into the human love versus God love, because what we call love is human love. So think about that.
You don't analyze it, just put down what you love.
Peanut butter.
Everyone, put down what you love. You don't need to try to get it perfect or analyze it. And if you love being perfect, put that down first. If you fear screwing up, we'll put that at the top of that list. But just make a list of everything you love, and let's play with those next week. We'll start out with playing with that, doing some sharing about that, and see what that is, because maybe one of the things we can do this fall is dump those attractions, aversions, fears, desires that are not serving us. And let's just dump the ones that aren't serving us, okay? We won't try to dump everything, but let's just get rid of the ones that aren't serving us, that aren't real. Let's try those first. Maybe we can spend some time this fall slowly chipping away at this incredible stack of stuff we're carrying around. Get quiet for a second and see if there's anything else I want to say. You'll tell Jay, Adele?
Yes.
The homework. I'll tell Mary Ann. Who else left?
Steve.
Huh?
Steve.
Okay. Will you call Steve? Good. Okay, I think we're done. I think the reason nothing else came for this class tonight is that this is what we're supposed to do. Look at this stuff. So good. Thanks. Thanks for coming. Love you all. Thanks, Andrew. Bye.
North Redondo.